sun is just starting to climb up over the treetops. And it's gonna be a beautiful day, that's plain to see.
Welcome to Bill Dance Outdoors, America's most popular and longest running TV fishing show.
Now I've gone fishing with Bill Dance today.
Come on out there. A big old fat fish. Come up here, baby. How fat that is. That a fat one? Yes, you are a fat one. See ya. All right, let me tell you. You know, there are two key words that come to mind when fishing for inactive bass. One, being location, and two, presentation. First, you gotta locate them, and secondly, you gotta give them an offering they like, and work it in a way that it's hard for them to refuse. Well, the location today is shallow cover, very thick cover in the form of spike rushes, close to deeper water. And the lure we've selected is ready-made for the cover we're fishing. It's called a Bass Pro Shop XPS tungsten jig. It comes in two sizes, a 1/2 and a 3/4. We're using the 1/2 ounce size today. It's an ideal weight to get out through the dense cover close to the bottom. Attached to the jig, we've added a Bass Pro Shop black and blue 3.5 inch Swimming Elite chunk that gives this jig more lifelike appeal and action than you can imagine. Once it enters the water, we allow it to sink, which doesn't take very long. Most of the depth that we're catching fish is about 2.5 to 3 feet deep. Then we begin a slow pumping action with our rod tip, keeping it in one place for as long as we want. The fish here are buried up tight as a result of a weather change and need to be teased into striking. By keeping our lure in the strike zone for a period of time, we'll definitely improve our odds tremendously. Speaking of a weather change, it was pretty severe. Several nights in the low 40s and daytime temps only reaching the mid-50s. A drop of 7 degrees in water temp in the past 4 days. Another tough one. Ooh. A pretty fish there. I'm gonna try to lift you up. Got this heavy line. Can I do it? I bet I can. Yeah, I did. Yep. Nice fish. Yes, sir. Okay, toodaloo. Boy, how'd you like that? Woo! He moved out and took off for Yondersville. I mean, he was trucking it. Heading for the open water. That was a good fight. A strong fish. He wanted it, but you know, you'd be surprised if you only knew the number of bass that really look at your lure and pay little or no attention to it. Now, if you could see all of this, it would absolutely blow your mind. The disappointing fact is that a high percentage of the time, bass really don't want our bait unless we happen to hit the ideal location and present it just right. You know, it's very important to present it just right. Sometimes we can put it right there right in front of him, and we think we're presenting it just right, and actually we're not.
Bill Dance Outdoors, sponsored by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Rebel, catch fish anywhere. And by Mercury Marine, go boldly. Today's Conditions Log is brought to you by the Tennessee Department of Tourist Development. Come experience the kind of beauty that can only be made in Tennessee. Go online today for your free Tennessee vacation guide.
A lot of times you don't feel them hit it, your line just gets tight. You pull up on it and you'll just feel them starting to move with it. And I'm bigger too. I didn't rake it good enough, did I? Look at that. Big old fat one. Oh boy, I tricked you, didn't I? You just had to have you a little bite of that, didn't you? But pretty one too. You'll show off one more time? Okay. Pretty fish. Ooh wee. Well, I gotta take. Ooh. I gotta take you back here because I can't lean over this. Boat's got a little bit high sides. Come up here. Let me turn you loose. Open your mouth, crazy. There's a fat one there, isn't it? Yes, sir. See ya. Speaking of presentation a few minutes ago, let me ask you this question. How many times have you been in a boat with a buddy using the same bait, the same color, but the results were not the same? You or your buddy were getting most of the action. Well, it happens all the time. Most of us think to ourselves that he's fishing the best spot, or it's just bad luck. However, there's usually a solid answer to this question. Usually, the answer lies in the difference in presentation of the bait to the fish. This is particularly true in bass fishing. By presentation, I mean the way in which the bait is offered. Are you moving it too slow? Not slow enough? Too fast or not fast enough? Bass are finicky creatures, and are even more so when they're inactive. You must establish a rhythm for that time, but keep in mind that can change from time to time and also to location. Come on back. Boy, you took off like you were going to do something. Woo! Yes, sir. Dandy. Strong fish. Look at that one. Yes, you are. Woo! See you, dude. You know, you'd be surprised if you only knew the number of bass that really look at your lure and pay little or no attention to it. Now, if you could see all of this, it would absolutely blow your mind. The disappointing fact is that a high percentage of the time, bass really don't want our bait unless we happen to hit the ideal location and present it just right. You know, it's very important to present it just right. Sometimes we can put it right there, right in front of him, and we think we're presenting it just right, and actually we're not.
Today's show is brought to you in part by Quantum Rods and Reels, Quantum Performance Tuned, Mystic Lubricants, Lubrication Domination, and Tracker Boats, Fish the Finest. Today's equipment log is brought to you by Bill Dance Exclusive Rods by Quantum. Whether you're fishing for panfish, bass, catfish, or light saltwater, we have an action for you. Available at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Today's show is sponsored in part by Berkeley, Catch More Fish, Bill Dance Exclusive Rods by Quantum, and by Garmin. Fight your fish, not your fish finder.
If I can ever get him back. Go to the open water, biggin. Woo! We got all wrapped up in that stuff. You was trying to crochet yourself up in there, weren't you, boy? Yes, you were. Let's spend a minute and let me show you what I mean about location. Now, most of the shoreline cover here is made up of spike rushes, but not all of it is holding fish. Only those areas where deeper water runs in close to it. And that's very, very important. For instance, this form of cover is in very shallow water, running some distance out from the shoreline. However, the area we're fishing here has deeper water in close to the rushes that runs 15 to 30 yards or more out from the shore. These deeper edges will definitely attract and hold more bass. Normally it's very difficult in most cases to fish way back into the rushes that extend very far out from the bank. So it's important to zero in on the thick or matted areas, edges and small openings, the holes and points close to the edge that are close to deeper water. As you can see, we're pitching in most of these areas rather than flipping or casting into them. Now, the casting technique would be very difficult simply because of the location the fish are using. However, the flipping technique would work. And we are flipping in some of these locations. But the pitching technique, what it does, it allows me to be somewhat more versatile simply because with this outfit, I can flip if I need to, and I can cast with it if necessary. Now, what I'm doing, I'm using a Quantum Smoke 7 1/4 inch long heavy action rod with a very sensitive tip that's got a lot of backbone. And the reel has got a very, very smooth drag system. And it's equipped with 30-pound strand line, 30-pound braid. And that's what you want when you're doing this kind of fishing. Let me tell you, I honestly don't believe there's a better bait than the one I'm using for this application. It's absolutely perfect for what we're doing. The jig and plastic attractor is really a great lure, not only for this application, but for so many more. It's without question a bass catcher. And what makes it so effective is that it represents something very much alive. It's also the type of lure you can catch fish in some of the most difficult places, and it's the kind of lure that'll work 12 months of the year. The only negative thing you can say about this bait is that it's not productive in a muddy water environment, simply because it's an eye contact lure and works much better in either stained or a clear water situation.
The Bill Dance question and answer of the week is brought to you by Bill Dance Exclusive Rods by Quantum. Whether you're fishing for panfish, bass, catfish, or light saltwater, we have an action for you. Available at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's.
I've heard about Berkeley crappie nibbles for years, but never really used them until last week. Do they work? You better believe they do. I was amazed. The bite was slow until my fishing buddy said, "Watch this." He put a Powerbait Chroma Glow nibble on and caught 4 in a row. What? Pass the plate. I was sold. These things are great. Try them. You'll be amazed too.
Today's show is sponsored in part by Berkeley, catch more fish. Bill Dance Exclusive Rods by Quantum. And by Garmin, fight your fish, not your fish finder.
Today's product tip is brought to you by Garmin and their GPS map series, chart plotter sonar combos. With advanced sonar technology like Chirp and exclusive Panoptix all-seeing sonar, you'll spend less time finding your fish.
There are many places you don't want to be hauling your boat when your bearings go out. For example, you don't want to be in rush hour traffic or on some back road in the middle of nowhere. And that's why I use Mystic JT6 bearing grease. The definition of reliable, Mystic allows me to always get there and back. And if you pack your bearings with Mystic, the same reliability will be yours as well.
Come be part of Bill Dance Digital. Join us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Follow us.
Whee! Okay, I'm gonna swing it. Here we go. Whoa, that's a lot of weight. See him bite me? You better not get cute. There's a live well back there. Yes, it is. I see you looking at me. The pitch or flip cast is very simple. You simply let out enough line to match the length of your 7 to 7.5 foot rod. You then hold the bait in your left hand, assuming you're right-handed. Now you make an underhand motion by swinging the rod upward sharply. When I'm fishing a jig, I always try and pitch it over things and through things. I want to feel it pull up over something if possible. I actually want to be able to be in contact with the cover. If I'm not feeling something, I don't feel like I'm fishing the jig in the manner that would be most effective and productive. I found it to be most effective when it bumps into cover or when you slowly pull it over an object, and at the last second, I jig it and let it flutter down the other side. As soon as I see or feel it sink, I really concentrate hard, because that's normally when the strike occurs. See, the key to using a heavy jig in shallow water and cover, you want it to go straight down. You don't want it to fall back to you and miss the cover. Now see right here, I want that little hole right there, I want it to go straight down. And I'm throwing it over something that's gonna help me, allow me to do that. But I want it, when I throw it over something, I know it's gonna go straight down. Oh, yeah, nice one. That's a good fish there. Oh yeah, look here. Big one. Okay, get out of the room. Don't get back in there. Don't get back in there. Don't get back in there. Determined to get in them. All right, let me just get you. I'm going to turn you loose. If you'll just come. Ouch. Oh, you're a nice one. I knew you were. Get that big rascal. Ooh-wee. Yes, you are. Pretty one, isn't it? Well, you ready to go? Ready to say toodaloo? I'm gonna say toodaloo. Toodaloo. But like I said in the beginning, the key to success on any body of water, location, number one. Number two, presentation. Find the right spot, present your lure properly, and you'll prevent a strikeout. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching Bill Dance Outdoors. Join us here again next week.
Now I've gone fishing with Bill Dance today.